So you're getting ready for the National Publicity Summit. Maybe you're a little bit excited, a little bit nervous, maybe more than a little bit nervous. You have a lot of important people that you'll be meeting there, like TV producers and radio producers, magazine and newspaper editors and podcasters. There'll be plenty of big media people there. And of course, you want to do a great job. You have your goals. You want to look great and sound great and connect with these media people, have them like you and book you on their shows, write stories about you. There are a lot of things that you want to have happen at the summit, or I should really say need to have happen at the summit. And that is the idea behind some of the strategies that I want to share with you today. My name is Jess Todtfeld, and I am a former TV producer. I was a producer on the national level for 13 years at ABC, NBC, and Fox. In fact, I was part of the first crop of producers that came to the summit and had people pitch to them. I've been a producer at 6 summits. So I'm in a unique position to share information with you, being on that receiving end. And actually in 2007, I left television. I started a media training company where I teach and show people how to do a great job in front of the media. And really the piece of the puzzle that's even more important is to create action from media interviews, like selling your book or creating traffic to your website or creating more whatever it is that you need to have happen. It's something that you have to think about as the process is going, even at this stage of the game before you go and talk to the media. Something very important and probably the very first strategy that I'm throwing out there. Also something that you may notice on this webpage, on the Tuesday before the summit, for the last 10 summits, I put together a workshop called Get the Most from the Summit Workshop, and it's a great program. There are videos of other folks who have been through the program and talk about what they got out of it. I encourage you to click and watch and listen to some of the things that they say. And I want to give you as much knowledge as I have for you to not only be able to do a great job at pitching the media, but showing up and looking and sounding media ready. I should also mention, after leaving television, I found myself on the other side of the table, your side of the table, pitching the media and trying to get out there and promote my books. I have 4 books and promote my business. In fact, a couple of years ago when I released my 3rd book, I set a Guinness Record for most radio interviews in 24 hours. So a Guinness Record in a publicity category. I figured out what can get the media to say yes. And it's from all those years of being the gatekeeper and being that person who listens. So I'll get a little bit more into some of those. I want to jump into the strategies. Strategy number 1 for when you're at the summit, put yourself in their position. So this is what I mean. Think about what is going on in their head. They're standing there, they're meeting 100 people who are coming one after another. You'll get 2.5 minutes to speak with them. They're trying to keep track of what everybody is saying and see if they're relevant. If they're relevant to what that person does as a job. So, for an example, if you have a book about finance, let's pretend you're a CPA, and you wrote a book about how making 10 simple tax changes can double your income without having to double your salary. And this person is a sports producer. You see it says the Today Show, turns out they're a sports producer. What you need to be able to do is think, how can I make myself relevant for them? And there will usually be signs that say who somebody is. It'll be written in the book that they give you. But think, how can I be as relevant as I can for their particular needs? So you might have to, and you should, on the spot, make those tweaks. Stop and think. So using that example, okay, how about this as a pitch? I'm pretending I'm the person pitching. If we took the top 5 athletes in the world and I told you how they've made their investments and been able to really build their wealth and how everyone else watching can do it on their own scale, would that sound like a great story to you? And notice that pitch only took 7 seconds to make. You want to put yourselves in their shoes, in their position. Number 2, takeaway. So this is a term that we used to use when I was a producer, and we would ask the question, What will the audience take away from this segment? What will they learn? What will they gain? And if you can think of that in the pitch and say your audience is primarily this type of person or that person, or people waking up going to work, and here's what they will gain as they're on their way out from work, you have now dramatically increased your chance of connecting with them. So think about the takeaway. Number 3, leave time to talk. Okay, what I mean by this is leave time for a conversation. You get 2.5 minutes to make your pitch. Do not use the entire time for your pitch. Try to get it down into 30 seconds, 45 seconds if you can. Notice I did one in 7 seconds before. The most important part of that interchange is the conversation, because you need to know what they're thinking. What's going on in their head? Do they like what you said? Are you close? Did they just do it a week ago? You need to know this information. But if you talk and talk the entire time, then they will say, thank you. Have a nice life. And that doesn't help you at all. So you want to give your pitch and you want to find out what they're thinking, what their thoughts are, and see if you can adjust on the spot. And you will be surprised. If they say, I'm sorry, we don't do any of those stories. There were so many times when I was a producer that somebody came over and said, all right, hey, last thought, you probably wouldn't want to do this, but I can also do this other thing. In fact, one example is I had somebody who was a dentist, and he said, all right, I guess you don't have dentists on your show. I wanted to talk about gum disease, but anyway, I know there's a presidential election. He threw this in as he's walking away. And if we put the top candidates up and we could see their teeth, I can tell you who's trustworthy and who isn't. So I knew that would be fun to do during our weather segment. And we put this person in front of a big green screen, and we had the big teeth there, and he was talking about both candidates, all the pros and cons, and it was a whole lot of fun. And he made it on the show. So leave time to talk. Number 4, take diligent notes. So thinking back to when I was a producer, people would come up, I'd give them advice. Sometimes I would say, call me. And they would walk off, sometimes never to be seen or heard from again. That's not why you're going to the summit. You need to have a system for keeping track of what happens. And actually, part of my workshop, I'll give you a system so you can keep notes. But whatever you decide to do, don't write in the margins. Don't forget to write anything down. There were so many people, I would tell them something. In fact, there was one gentleman, I said, this sounds very interesting, but it's probably better for the holidays. Why don't you call me December 1st? So a week later after the summit, which happened to be in the summer that year, he gives me a call. And he said, so Jess, you liked me at the summit. What do you think? Are we going to do it? I said, I think you should still call me on December 1st. And he, of course, said, oh, I'm so embarrassed, and I can't believe, and I apologize, and okay, all right. It didn't help him at all. We ended up, actually, you know what, I'm not 100% sure now that I think about it. Did he actually call me in December? I don't know. It's very important for you to keep those notes, get it onto your calendar, the most important ones, get onto your calendar when you get home. Number 5, sound like you would in an interview. And this is a lot of what we're doing during the workshop that I'm doing on the Tuesday before the summit, which is helping people to look and sound media ready. When you show up and you're giving your pitch, it's a little audition. They are looking to see what you would be like in an interview. And if you don't sound like somebody who can really speak about their topic, have a certain level of passion, be able to get to some really interesting points, and do it in a way where they say, yes, I can envision it. I can see right away how you would be. If you can't do that, then it will be tougher for you to be able to break through. Here's a little bit about what we're doing during my workshop on the Tuesday before the summit. What we'll do is I will give you more strategies on how to best connect with the media and how to keep track of what it is that is happening and how to best get through your pitch. A lot of it comes from the second part of what happens in our workshop, which is media training. I teach you how to look and sound media ready, so when you show up, they understand that you're somebody who really knows how to bring it. So, what do we cover? Body language and voice. I will help you to look and sound your best. We'll get into messaging. Out of everything that you could say, how do you boil it down to the most important pieces out of everything that is in your head and be able to remember and deliver it? Good news is I have a system for that, and I make it very easy. You don't have to memorize. It just focuses your brain in. Next, one of my favorite parts, the answer system. Everybody worries about questions in interviews. What will they ask? What if they ask this? What if they ask that? I get you to think in reverse and be ready and have all the questions that you know you want to deliver lined up in your brain and have 10 different techniques for getting to them. I'll go beyond what a lot of media trainers talk about, which is something called bridging, which has to be the most vague idea or technique I've ever heard in my life, where they say, go from where you are to where you want to be. That doesn't help me at all. It didn't help me when I left television and found myself sitting in the hot seat. And just an important part to bring up, of course you want to create some action results at the summit. You want them to book you. And a lot of people find once they've been booked, they say, oh no, now what? Now what do I do? I have to play catch up. So I get you to do the whole process in reverse. Show up media ready, you get the interview, and you can feel more calm and comfortable and ready. And it takes a lot of the element of the unknown out of this whole process. And in addition, a couple of the other techniques and systems I'll be teaching you, Soundbites, how to reformat your answers in the exact way and manner that the media finds irresistible. So if you're talking to a print reporter, they call them quotes, how can you make a certain answer irresistible so they want to print it? And in addition to my Guinness Record, I used that technique just in the last year, and I was able to get, with 2 emails, and using the soundbite techniques, of course, they're called quotes for print, I was able to get 40 newspapers, major newspapers, Washington Post, Washington Times, Vancouver Sun, Forbes.com, The Atlantic, goes on. And I want that for all of you. A very important piece that I'm adding onto this for this group is something that I call turning interviews into sales. And that is a very important part because, as I said in the beginning of this video that I'm recording for you, I know that this is not just something that you want to have happen and make something big, meaning out of the summit, but it's something that many of you need to create something big. That's why you're investing not only the money, but really all of the time to learn these things and figure it out and go out and practice it. And I'm somebody who's lived it. In fact, going to the summit and hearing a lot of the things that they've talked about, I've been able to absorb some of those things, also from certain marketing sources, also sales techniques that I've blended together to put together this workshop. There's a big bonus, by the way, something I don't always do. It's a $2,500 value. Many of these producers will be saying, you sound good, you look good, but I need some sort of example of your work and something recent ideally. What do you have? At the end of this workshop, we will record 5 videos that look a little bit like this. We'll have a different background and a New York City background, actually, since you're coming to New York City. And this way you will have those videos you could put on YouTube. You can share it with the media. You can say, here's something that I would say, and this is what I look like when speaking about my topic. And you can also put them in your website so you can make your website come alive. Ideally, right now, this website is coming alive. You're hearing a real human being talk to you instead of just text on a page. So that is something that I'm including and that we'll be doing at the end of the day on the Tuesday before the summit. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. The phone number is on this webpage. I encourage you to click around and watch some of the other past attendees to my workshop talking about the value that they got out of the workshop. So I'll let you hear what they have to say. And I just want to leave you with this last quote, which I think is interesting as I'm thinking. I want to wish you a lot of luck. But luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So I am wishing you plenty of luck, but also I'm wishing that you bring the preparation together so that you can connect with opportunity. please sign up for the workshop. Join us. There'll be a very small group, and we will close it out once we hit that number, because I really want it to be intimate and only be able to give a small group this very specialized type of program. Thank you.